Okay, so this morning we're talking about doing advertising for wholesale properties. This is the industry it's advertising. Again, it is a good idea to have a blend of online marketing as well as in the streets marketing. And today we're going to be talking about, and I'll be showing you how to do the in the streets marketing. And it's so simple and so easy. The key thing is just actually doing it. So the first thing is, what I do is I pull up a map on MapQuest of where the property is. In this case, this one happened to be on Grovewood Drive here in Columbus, Ohio. Now, initially when you pull up the map on MapQuest, it's only going to show about this much of the map. So you need to zoom out about 3 times so that you can get a little bigger picture of exactly where, because what we're looking for are the main intersections here, okay, where the most traffic is going to be, because when we stick our signs out, we want the maximum number of people to see them and to call as possible, because the more buyers you have calling them, the better chance you have of getting the place sold. So you can see right here that on every property we do send 10 signs per property. At least I do. Some people I know only do 5 signs, but I do 10 signs because, again, I want the maximum exposure and to get the maximum number of calls as quickly as possible so that we can get this puppy moved and get on to the next one. That is the name of the game for wholesalers, is volume and speed. Okay. So with that being said, there's the map here. These are the signs that I use. Just blank. I use blank yellow. A lot of guys use blank white signs, and some of you may not know this, but with these Coroplast plastic signs, the flutes will run, most of the time the flutes will run vertically like this. I happen to get these in horizontal because and again, a lot of Bandit signers don't know this, but you can actually get the flutes like this, so when you hang a sign on a telephone pole, the wind won't bend them. You see a lot of these people with their signs that the wind blows and they're folded over in half like that. Well, that's just a waste of a sign. So anyway, you have a choice to get the flutes like this or like this. I happen to get them like this, so that's why we have to print up the signs this way. Okay. So again, it's just a really simple message that we use. Really cheap house for sale, need some work, and the price. Call now on the number. I mean, how could somebody be confused reading that? So that's what's worked well for me in my business, is keeping the message simple yet to the point so that anybody and everybody can understand it and knows. I mean, you're sitting there looking at an intersection. What exactly does this sign say? Chad, what would you think?
That there's a cheap house that if I can get it dirt cheap, I can do the work, create a lot of equity, either make a lot of money, get a lot of cash flow, or live there myself cheaper than I normally could in that neighborhood.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So then what I do, and again, this is, again today, I'm looking to cut costs as much as possible and save money every chance that I get. So what I do is I buy these from Home Depot. They're tomato stakes, and I think they're like 3 feet by 1.5 inches thick. And these are actually the best way to go because you can buy a bundle of these, 25 of them for like $10. So it's like, what is it, 40-something cents a piece. Where the metal step stakes that go into these flutes, you can buy those, but they're $1 a piece. So I can get almost 3 times as many of these for the price of one of those metal stakes. But with these metal stakes, or excuse me, with these wooden tomato stakes, all we do, and again, I like to put the, anytime I'm hanging a sign, I like to put the nail in first, so that it's sitting there, so that I can use my one hand. And again, you want to leave just a little bit on the top here so that you can actually bang the stake in. I've done it before where it was down here like this, and it's not any fun trying to bang in a stake when it looks like that. So you want to leave the tip of it exposed, and just line up the nail, mallet or hammer, doesn't matter. Mallet's easier, obviously. Okay, there's one. There's 2. And now she's up, and she's not blowing anywhere. Okay. Okay, so there is our first sign. You just do that times 10. Now, it's important with each property. Again, this is an important 2 words to say because you want to instruct people always on what to do. That's a mistake that a lot of investors or marketers as a whole make, and something that a lot of my marketing mentors say is you need to instruct people with your message. Okay, so if you just have this, there's really no instruction there. Most people will figure out, most people are smart enough to figure out to call the number, but if you don't instruct them, so here we go. This is call now. Okay, so anybody that's thinking about it will read that and subliminally or consciously, they'll think, oh, well, okay, call now, there's my instruction, and boom, they'll do it, because people will do what they're told to do. So here's just a real simple example of the signs that we use. Let's go ahead and, Chad, let's walk over here to this intersection because, well, let me grab this real quick. And again, we just do things real informal, real simple, and to the point here. But an example of where we would actually place these 10 signs, see here is the actual subject property itself, right here, letter A with the star. We want the 10 signs at the most major intersections in the area that is close by. So, you know, here's a major intersection here, Lockbourne and whatever this street is right here. This is happens to be Groveport Road. So before I'd actually go out, I'll circle these intersections where I'd like signs to be. I know this is another major intersection. Okay, Parsons and Marion. I know this is a major intersection. I know this one's a major intersection. And again, with only 10 signs, you're not going to get that many intersections in. And I know this is a major intersection. So this is 1, and see, there may only be 1 to 2 signs you can put up here. This one, same thing, 1 to 2 signs. And again, you want these signs to be placed where traffic is going to stop. Okay, and you always want it to be on the right side, right-hand side as much as possible, so that when people are looking over, because people are trained on the roads, when they're driving down the street, all the stop signs, all the road signs, speed limit signs are on the right. Okay, so you want to stay with that theme as much as possible. So anytime you have a chance to put it by a stop sign or a stoplight, stick it on the right-hand side so that when people are stopped at the stop sign or at the stoplight, they look over to the right and boom, they see your sign. That's the name of the game. So anyway, just plot out where it is that you want to place these signs before you go. I would not ever put any more than 4 signs up per intersection. Never, 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 because that's overkill. And again, I want my dollar to stretch as far as possible, and there is a way for you to place 2 signs on each intersection and have all 4 directions of traffic being able to see it. Okay, and it goes back to what subject would that be in school, Chad? Not geography, but like understanding angles and geometry, or
yeah, geometry. I think
we both obviously weren't paying that much attention in that class. Oh, I forgot. Here, the supplies that we need are obviously these signs, the tomato stakes, and these nails that you can buy at Home Depot or Lowe's. You get a box of them for like $2. They have the little cap on them, which keeps the wind from being able to blow them off and just blow through that little head. Grab yourself a heavy mallet, and literally, that's all you need. So the way to get, we're going to use this intersection over here as an example. The way to be able to get 2 directions with 1 sign, obviously this is not really the best example of an intersection, but one tip that I always do is, and I've learned this from doing literally tens of thousands of Bandit signs myself, is by any chance you have of, you want to stick them as close to an object as possible. Not only to, this will accomplish 2 things. 1, it'll give it more strength in the wind, and number 2, it'll, when the city guys come and they mow around these areas, if the sign is super close like this, a lot of times they'll just leave it in the ground and not pull it out. But if your sign is like this, standing on its own, then they take these out and they throw them on the corner here, and your sign's going to be down before the weekend's out, if that's when it's time to mow. So I get it as close as possible just banging in the ground. Okay. Now this is getting one direction of traffic here, and what I was talking about was trying to get two directions of traffic. So you'll want to just angle it so that the traffic coming this way and the traffic coming this way are both able to see it. So it's this direction over here. I can see the sign. Those people looked at us like we had freaking buck teeth and string bikini bottoms on here. Do I have a third eye on my forehead? Yeah. I'm sorry, maybe I was missing the sign. See, and that's part of the reason why I love this business, because either you get it or you don't, but either way, we have so much fun doing it. I mean, come on, it's Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning, it's game day. We're out here teaching people how to make money investing in real estate, flipping contracts with wholesaling. So simple, so easy, but effective. Listen, it works. Chad's about to find out. He's going to go put out a route of 10 today, and I'm excited to get the results that he's going to get, because his phone's just going to blow up, because it always does. So anyway, it's all in the way that you angle it. You can angle it where two directions of traffic can see one sign. On the major high traffic intersections, it's a good idea to do 4 signs, because you want to make sure that everybody has. So here's an example of just doing it on one direction. Here's the intersection. Okay, you can stick it as close to this stop sign as possible. Okay, it's not going anywhere. And any car that pulls up here, because that's the thing, we're looking for the people that are sitting here in their cars. Pull up the stop sign, stop, look down, boom. Hey, there's the sign. They're either going to see it and write the number down and call it, or they're going to just see it and keep driving. So, and it's these people that are sitting here at the stop sign. Not only that, but it's the people that are behind that person and behind that person. And listen, I'm telling you, you're going to be able to, you can see that sign from 50 feet back. I mean, I'm 4 cars back now, and I can still read that sign. So that's what's fun. The other, I mean, I don't know what else I can say about that. I mean, it's so self-explanatory. As long as the sign looks like this, as long as the sign looks like that on your intersection, you're good. People are going to be able to see it, and you're going to get calls. Okay, that's for one direction of traffic. Again, if you're looking for 2, you want to angle it more the other way, so that not only can people coming this way, but people coming this way see your sign as well. So I do that on the not quite so major intersections, but on the super high traffic areas, this is definitely the way to go. And you want to get 4 on each intersection, but again, only the biggest of the big intersections, super high traffic areas. Now the one other piece of equipment that I forgot to show you, and this will be the end of the video, because really that's it. It is a piece of cake. The other piece of equipment is that marker over here. You have any idea what
They're here.
Oh. Sharpie Magnum. Okay, this is the best marker to use. I mean, look at that. Look at that tip. The thing is huge. Now, a mistake that I see a lot of beginning investors make and experienced investors make is they write these signs and they'll do it like this. They'll write it small. You know, I can see that here, but again, we're looking at cars. Cars are our target, and people in cars. Do it big and bold so that people can read it, and so that as these sit out for weeks, it's going to take a long time for the rain and the weather to strip this marker off the sign. You do it thick like this, it's going to stay on your sign for, I mean, it's going to brave the weather for at least 6 months. People will be able to read that. Chances are the sign won't stay up that long, but again, if it does, you want a sign out there. I can't tell you how many times I've seen signs where I can tell somebody wrote on it, but it's so faded that I can't read it. This is what we're going for. The main thing, super bold, is your number. So really, that's it. And again, the main thing with these is just do it do it right away, because you are going to start getting calls. The quicker you find a buyer who can perform on your wholesale contract, the quicker you get paid, the sooner you go to the bank, the more you want to do another one, and another one, and another one. And I'm telling you, this is a heck of a lot of fun. So I appreciate your time this morning. Go out there and get them. Thanks. Okay, so there was a couple things that I wanted to add to the training that you just watched here, in addition to using this intersection as a perfect example. And actually, before we do that, there was a question that came up that I wanted to address, and it's a question that I get asked on a fairly regular basis. And that question is, what do you do if the police come up to you and start talking to you about the signs, or somebody, there's nosy neighbors or whatnot, which, by the way, is a great question, and I've learned just, again, from doing, in my day, I've put up literally tens of thousands of Bandit signs, hung them myself, really enjoyed doing them, and done a lot of testing, and pretty much experienced everything that a person can experience when out in the street doing the signs. So the only times I've ever been approached by a cop, half of the times, there's only been 4 times that I can remember. 2 of those times were because a cop was asking me about his house that he was looking to sell, was one of them, and the other one was a house that his neighbor was looking to sell. The other 2 times a cop pulled up, and funny because the other 2 times were literally within 30 seconds of each other. I was taping up, sometimes I do, hold that thought for just a second. Sometimes I do, again, I am always testing out new ways of marketing, and that's something that I highly recommend for you if you're serious about your business, is to constantly be testing ideas. And I saw an investor around town that was he was taping these to telephone poles. And I thought, man, that's a really great idea. Let me try this out. I had 1,000 of these things printed, and again, I just had them copied on this paper and then got them laminated and did the cutting myself. And it cost me less than $100 to have 1,000 pieces printed up. And I was going around to the telephone poles, and if it was a wooden telephone pole, I got it's a staple, one of those stapler banger things that you go and you just hit the staple on it, and it's a construction thing, and you just hit it, just bang, 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 4 or 5 of them, and the thing's stuck on the pole. So back to my example, I was actually on a metal pole. I was taping it with clear packing tape and taping around the pole. And just as I was getting done, a cop pulls up here on the right and said, "Hey man, you're not really supposed to be doing that, but it's not that big of a deal, so I just kind of want to let you know, and have a good afternoon." And I was like, "Hey buddy, thanks man, you take care." And he pulled off down Parsons Avenue. So I'm finishing up taping this up, and sure enough, not 30 seconds later, I look over and there's another cop car sitting there, and the cop goes, "Hey buddy, that's against the law. You can't do that. Take it down now." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yes, take it down now." Okay, so I sat there and unwrapped the tape, took it down, and walked across the street. He drove off, and then I turned around and did the same thing on the telephone pole over here, and got that direction of traffic, and then got in my car and left. So anytime anybody has a question or an objection, me personally, I'm not ever the owner when I'm out there. Hey man, I'm just hired to do a job. Because when I'm out there doing signs, I am hired to do a job. Whether it's hired by myself or hired from my partner or hired from whoever, I'm there just to do a job. So if anybody has a question, or if anybody has a house they want to sell, hey, look, here's the number. Call the number. I'm just out here to hang signs. Anytime anybody questions you, again, we're just out here. I'm just doing my job, okay? And my job for right now happens to be I'm hanging signs. So same thing goes for you, Chad. Same thing goes for anybody. If anybody questions, and they have a question, hey man, call these guys. And almost 10 times out of 10, the people are never going to call anyway. And same thing goes with people coming up to you and just wanting to chat and be friendly. Hey man, I'm always friendly. I'm always chatting it up with folks. I enjoy chatting it up with folks, and I recommend you do the same. But again, you're out there to do your job, and the main thing is to get the job over and done with so that you can get on with the rest of your day, which today just happens to be lots of college football. So the other question is, what do you do, Darren, if you can't if you can't, like on this intersection here, we can't put a stake in the ground because it's sidewalk all around. And by the way, signs, you want to place signs as close to the corner of the intersection as possible. Because that way, I mean, if you put it back here, and if this wasn't a stop sign, and this was the stop sign right here, you would miss this traffic coming up here. So see, look, the woman stops up here, she's going to miss this sign. So you want to get it as close to the intersection as possible. Okay, again, we want maximum number of people to see the signs every time. So like here, we can't put a stake in this ground. What do you do next? Well, real simple. Take these same nails, and again, I put them actually in the sign first. So that way, I'm not doing this and holding the sign in. Look how much higher you can get it up with one hand than you could if you were doing two hands like this. You think I've done this a time or two in my day? Listen, this is the best way to do it. Well, there you go. Start with the highest one first. I can't tell you how many times I've done this and started with the bottom and banged it up, and I couldn't get to the top. And then the sign just goes like this. It comes down. So, again, just use common sense, use these principles that I've spent years perfecting, and go work in the business, and you're going to make the best use out of your time every time for maximum profit, maximum enjoyment, and that's all for now. Go Bucks. Okay, so there was a couple more questions in finishing up here on the Bandit sign training with advertising your wholesale contracts. One of the questions that I had and points that I wanted to bring up, this is a little more getting into what we're going to talk about here is a little more of the strategy involved and the thought process behind where to actually place these signs. I get that question a lot as well. And how many signs do I put up on an intersection? Okay, so where we're going to focus our attention with these signs is like this intersection right back here. Okay, there's only 2 stop signs on this intersection. And this traffic here the traffic going north and south this way does not stop. And they're whizzing by at 25, 35 miles an hour. So it doesn't matter that we have signs pointing to this flow of traffic. Okay, it's all about this way that the traffic flows. Okay, because there's a stop sign here and there's a stop sign over here. So cars coming these ways are where we want to focus our attention on this intersection. Now when it's a bigger intersection where there's traffic lights in all 4 directions of traffic are stopping, that's where you want to look at doing a sign that's tilted so that 2 directions of traffic can see it. So tilt it this way so that traffic coming this way and this way can both potentially see that sign. And then same thing on the opposite corner. You want to put it in the caddy corner direction. So here, let's walk over here and I'll show you. Are we out of the sun here?
Okay. You're good.
So let's just say, for example, we're going to use this intersection as an example. Let's just say there's a traffic light here. Okay. So there's a traffic light here. To get if it's a humongous intersection, you just want to go 1, 2, 3, 4. You just want to get all 4 directions. If it's a major intersection and the poles are kind of far back from the actual corner themselves, I mean, if you can place the signs like right here, that's where you want to look at doing the 2 directions of traffic, getting this direction and getting this direction of traffic with 1 sign. But if you have to place them back 20 or 30 feet, that's where you're kind of stuck and have to just go with 1 sign per intersection. Okay, so again, if you can get them close to the actual intersection is where you can tilt them to get this in this direction, and then same thing goes over here. If you can get it real close, you can tilt it here to get this flow and this flow of traffic seeing them. Okay, but then like here's a perfect example. This right here, this intersection right here that I circled, this is the only flow of traffic that stops. This street just keeps going through this intersection. So that's why there's only 1 sign going to go up, and that sign either goes here or right across the street. Either way, but that's the only direction that stops, and those are the only directions that we care about. are the ones that stop, because it's going to take them stopping to be able to read what our message is. So that's just some of the strategy, and again, a lot of it you'll feel out as you get into the streets and you start getting to these intersections, and you know, you get tired of finishing up your 10 signs in 3 intersections, and you want to kind of stretch them out a little bit and get a broader exposure for your signs that you're putting out. Just do that and toy around with it. Again, these are steps that I've used and that have worked for me, and they'll work for you if you use them, but try different things out. And maybe you're hanging them up on poles where you can get 2 directions of traffic. You know, turn it into a game. I actually got 3 directions of traffic on one sign once, and that's always fun to do. But make it fun, because it is fun, because we're making money putting signs out, advertising our wholesale contracts that we don't actually own the house for, but we're making thousands of dollars by selling a contract. How freaking cool is that? But enough about that. Were there any other questions, Chad? Did I get that to the point? I mean, do you understand what? Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Well, if there's other questions, then we'll do more video. But otherwise, the main thing is just getting out there and make it happen, because the signs won't work until you put them out there. That's all. All right, so we're here on the corner of Marion and Lockbourne. Here's a real-life example of a wholesale Bandit sign advertising our contract for sale. Okay. There's also other We Buy Houses signs and whatnot. The example I want to give, the lesson for today, is where is this sign pointing to? Now, it is obviously getting traffic on the other side of the street, but oh, wait a minute, maybe it's getting, okay, look, it's getting this direction and that direction of traffic, but the sign's going to tilt it like this. So you tilt it like that, these people see it, and potentially those people see it. So that is a well-placed sign right there. Darren Dicke, the Columbus wholesaler. What I'm going to do today is see if we can hang up and cover a whole intersection in 2 minutes or less. I'm out. Start the timer.
Got 1 minute. Look at that, could have even taken a couple.